Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh and good morning to our beloved lecturer Ms. Zahra and to our fellow classmates. Today, we are from Group 3 would like to present topic 9 on chapter 11, which is internal audit and external audit. Our group member is Aizuddin Arif, Nur Sabrina, Nur Izzati and Nurul Nadia. First and foremost, the learning outcome in this chapter is we are able to explain the functions of internal audit and external audit in public sector. We are also able to describe the Auditor General Department and Public Accounts Committee and explain the challenges in public sector auditing. Next, what is audit? Audit functions as an essential mechanism in facilitating and assuring the level of public accountability and effective governance of public sector organizations. Conventionally, public sector auditing was primarily concerned with legality, reliability and integrity of government expenditures, that is, the spending of public monies. In other words, the key focus of the public sector auditing relates to proper utilization of financial resources in accordance with relevant laws and regulations, as well as appropriate accounting and reporting system. Over the years, the audit functions have expanded to include monitoring of government programs and activities in line with the fundamental principles of implementation of 3 E's, which is efficient, effective and economical. Accordingly, public sector auditing gives attention to accountability, output, efficiency and value for money. Consistently, the conventional role of government auditors also has undergone major change over the years. The change had put a demand for wider scope of audit, that is, beyond regulatory and procedural compliance. The government auditors are deemed to be playing a significant role in enhancing accountability in public sector management and practice. Okay, this is the meaning of audit. Auditing is a process by which a competent and independent person accumulates and evaluates evidence about quantifiable information related to a specific economic entity for the purpose of determining and reporting on the degree of correspondence between quantifiable information and established criteria. So, audit in general refers to the professional service of which auditor seeks to provide a reasonable level of assurance through the issuance of opinion, thus enhance the credibility of a subject matter. In other words, auditing involves evaluation and verification processes performed by a competent and qualified individual, in which he or she seeks to ensure the validity and reliability of information on certain organizations' activities, and that they are in accordance with the established standards and regulations. The primary aim of an audit, therefore, is to provide a reasonable level of assurance that the information in reports, statements, and other supporting documents audited are free from material errors, thus enhance the credibility of a subject matter. An audit process is crucially important in determining the adequacy of organizational system and practice. In relation to that, the auditing process should be conducted in accordance with the adopted standards. This is to assure audit quality and auditor's opinion or other judgment relating to the degree of correspondence with established criteria, such as generally accepted accounting principles, laws and regulations, contractual agreements or other criteria agreed upon with users of the audit report. From the Malaysian context, the term true and fair view has been depicted in Section 174 of the Companies Act 1965. This provision governs the duty of commercial auditors. Auditors' opinion on the yearly financial statements is one of the important components referred by investors and other users of financial statements. The auditor's opinion on financial statements may boost up the level of confidence of accounting information users. In addition to that, decision-making process will be more accurate and effective. Next is the purpose of audit. The concept and establishment of audit is inherent in public financial administration as the management of public funds represents a trust. In the conventional setting, the purpose of an audit is to add credibility to the financial statements reviewed. In such a setting, audit aims to provide an independent opinion to the relevant stakeholders on the truth and fairness of the financial statements, in addition to reveal deviations from accepted standards and violations of the principles of legality, efficiency, effectiveness, and economy of financial management. Audit therefore functions as a constructive mechanism in ensuring the acceptable level of accountability early enough to make it possible to take corrective actions in individual cases, to make those accountable accept responsibility, to obtain compensation, or to take steps to prevent or at least render more difficult situations such as breaches. International Standard on Auditing 120, Framework of International Standards on Auditing, under paragraphs 11 and 13, describes the key purpose of an audit as follows. The main reason is to enable the auditor to express an opinion whether the financial statements are prepared in all material respects in accordance with an identified financial reporting framework. The phrases used to express the auditor's opinions are give a true and fair view or present fairly in all material respects, which are equivalent terms. The auditor's opinion enhances the credibility of financial statements by providing a high but not absolute level of assurance. From the perspective of public sector, the purpose of auditing includes these aspects, which is to determine any embezzlement from the estimation being planned, to declare any wrongdoings in relation to the principles, orders, rules and regulations, to declare the elements and factors which fail to lead for the effectiveness, efficiency and economical utilization of government's resources, provide basis of reporting to Parliament and the general public on the stewardship of public funds, and safeguarding public money, ensuring proper accountability, upholding proper standards of conduct in public service, and help public services to achieve value for money. Please take note that the purpose of auditing has come out in the past semester, which is July 17.
There are three roles of government auditors. The first one is oversight role. It is to evaluate whether government organizations are operating effectively and efficiently, including the government spending. Next, to verify government organizations' financial and program performance. Furthermore, to verify government organizations adhere to relevant rules and regulations. And lastly, to monitor the effectiveness of government organizations' internal control system. The second role of government auditors is insight role, to examine and understand programs and practices. Next, to identify loopholes and problems. Moreover, to provide feedbacks on current policies and practices. And lastly, to recommend improvements. Third role of government auditors is foresight role. It is to inform risk and future challenges. Next, to identify opportunities. And lastly, to offer future strategies towards effective and efficient management and practices. There are 7 key elements of an effective public sector audit activity. The first one is organizational independence, a formal mandate, unrestricted access, sufficient funding, competent leadership, competent staff, and also stakeholder support. Okay, and this is the regulatory framework for public sector auditing. The governing body, National Audit Department, also known as NAD, headed by Auditor General. Next, NAD used auditing standard as the core reference in governing and conducting various types of auditing. Next, audit mandates are FC 1957 and Audit Act 1957. Next, other professional standards such as MIA, INTOSAI, and also ASOSAI. These are the examples of widely accepted professional audit standards. The first one is International Standards for the Professional Practice of Internal Auditing issued by IIA. Next, Generally Accepted Government Auditing Standards issued by US Government Accountability Office GAO. Next, Governmental Internal Audit Standards UK. And next, International Standard on Auditing issued by the International Auditing and Assurance Standards Board IAASB of the IFAC. And lastly, Guidelines on Internal Auditing issued by the East and Southern African Association of Accountant General ESAAG. The audit function represents an integral part of the government financial management. Next, it also acts as instrument in improving the overall performance of the government sector. Next, there are 2 categories of audit. The first one is internal audit, where power and responsibility under head of individual government organization and reporting made to the head of the organizations. Then there's external audit, whereby function performed by NAD, power authority and responsibility of AG under Art 106 and 107 of FC, and to be reported to the Parliament. These are the difference between internal audit and external audit. For internal audit, auditing is carried out by subunit of an organization, internal audit department. Next, it comprises of all qualified auditors, known as internal auditors. And next, focus on adherence to management operation, internal control systems, proper financial accounting system, fraud detection, safeguarding of assets, and legal compliance. Next, improve the efficiency and effectiveness of internal control and governance. And next, TC 9/2004 states the scope of work or functions of internal audit unit. And next, for external audit, a periodic audit conducted by an independent or external accountant. Next, include verifying accounting records, ensuring the compliance with proper and relevant guidelines and principles. And next, examination carried out by the Auditor General Department to examine the financial statements, programs, and activities of government agencies. Next, aims to achieve high level of public accountability. And next, 3 types: financial, compliance, and performance audit.
Moving on to the next section, Types of audits or external audit. There are three types of audits. The first type of audit is financial audit, also known as attestation audit. This type of audit aims to determine whether financial statement shows true and fair view of financial position. It is also aimed to identify whether the government entity has complied with legal and regulatory requirements. This type of audit involves obtaining and evaluating evidence for financial report. It is carried out annually according to Article 106 Federal Constitution, Section 6 and 9 of Audit Act 1957. Generally, financial audits include the practice in determining whether financial information is presented in accordance with established reporting framework. Number 2, specific financial regulations have been adhered to. Number 3, internal control structure on financial reporting have been implemented accordingly. The second type of audit is compliance audit. The order to conduct this audit has been stated in Section 6, subsection E of the Audit Act 1957. Compliance audit involves inspection and evaluation on activities of ministries or departments or agencies. It involves gathering and evaluating evidence to determine whether specific financial or operating activities of organization conform to rules and regulations. For this audit, internal procedures are used to control the accuracy of the collecting and recording of revenues and incurring and recording of expenditures and disbursement. Compliance audit performed on cyclical basis, which means only selected activities will be audited. The third type of audits is performance audit. This audit often referred to as operational audit, management audit, VFM audit. It involves studies and evaluation of specified programs or activities of ministries or government departments or agencies with the key aims to determine whether objectives of the programs are achieved and whether the implementation of the programs was carried out in most economical, efficient, and effective manner. Performance audit covers full range of government activities including financial, organizational, and administrative system. This is the summary of types of external audit based on three criteria. The first one is nature of assertions. The nature of assertions for financial audit is the entity's financial data. For compliance audit is the implicit claim on data adhered to relevant policies, laws, and regulations. For performance audit is the performance or operational data. For the established criteria, financial audit has the criteria of identified financial reporting framework. For compliance audit, the established criteria is management policies, laws, regulation, or other third-party requirements. For performance audit, the established criteria is the objective set, for example, by management or by enabling legislation. As for the nature of auditor's report, financial audit is based on the opinion on the fairness or truth and fairness of financial information. For compliance audit, it is based on the summary of findings or assurance regarding degree of compliance. For performance audit, it is based on economy, efficiency, and effectiveness observed, recommendations for improvement. Next is the framework for public sector audit. Each government organization needs to maintain proper account to record its daily operation and prepare financial statement at the end of financial year. Article 106 of Federal Constitution states that Accountant General need to audit financial statement of each government organization to ensure compliance according to relevant standard and regulations. Following that, the Section 9 of the Audit Act 1957 requires Accountant General to prepare audit report at Accountant General Department level after the end of audit process as the outcome of the annual audit. The audited financial statements and audit report will be passed to Parliamentary Committee, known as Public Accounts Committee (PAC), to review and provide comments. Moving on to the next section, the National Audit Department (NAD). NAD has its HQ in Putrajaya and 13 branches in each state. The function of NAD is to ensure existence of accountability in the administration and management of public funds through audit of accounts and activities of government agencies. The National Audit Department is headed by Auditor General and organized into 8 key sectors, namely Federal Government Audit, State Government Audit, Management, Corporate Affairs, Legal Advisor Unit, Federal Statutory Bodies Audit, Special Audit and Research, and the National Audit Academy. With respect to audit responsibilities, Federal Audit Sector is responsible for audit of federal ministries, departments, and statutory bodies. State Audit Sector is responsible for audit of state governments, state bodies, local authorities, and religious councils. Federal Statutory Bodies Sector is responsible to audit the statutory bodies at federal level. NAD does not fall under any jurisdictions of powers under the organization structure of Malaysian government and the position of the Auditor General. It is an independent body set up under the requirement of Federal Constitution supported by other government systems and procedures. The primary objectives of NAD are as follows: to prepare quality and timely audit report to the Parliament and state legislatures. Number 2, to carry out audit activities and prepare reports in an independent and balanced manner. Number 3, to fulfill the needs and expectations of stakeholders and auditees. Number 4, to manage audit activities efficiently and effectively. And lastly, is to be a model employer.